Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Shook and I will be your journalism instructor. I am glad that I finally get a chance to introduce myself and I get a chance to interact with you a little bit closer to in person with a video. Today is a really exciting day because today we will be setting up our blogs for our journalism class. And the blogs will be the driving force behind this journalism class. By the end of this term, by the end of this session, or this school year rather, we will have a portfolio of sorts that has evolved over time and shows your growth as a journalist. And so I'm really, really excited to dive into the world of blogging with each of you. To begin, we need to discuss what is a blog. Well, a blog is a web log, which is an online platform for users to post news or updates or any other information that they would like to upload. Think of a blog as an online journal or a diary of sorts, in the general sense. But again, our blogs will be news blogs. They will focus on a topic of your choosing, and you will post weekly updates to your blog recapping whatever is going on in that topic. So for instance, if you wanted to cover a sports team or maybe a particular arena of sports like college football, then you might post an update about some of the big games. Or if your team is playing and you're following your team, you might post whatever team you're pulling for, those updates. If you're doing the world of technology, maybe cell phones, and Apple is releasing news about a new iOS feature, or Android is releasing information about a new software development, then you would write a blog post detailing the advancements in cell phone technology. You have plenty of topics to choose from, all at your fingertips, and I'm really excited to see what your creativity looks like. And again, you'll post these weekly updates regarding that field. But what do blogs look like? Well, they look like any kind of website. It all depends on the style of the particular writer or the owning organization. For instance, here is a blog called Gizmodo. Now, Gizmodo is a little bit of an everything blog, but they tend to lean more towards the sciences and technology. If you look down here, their latest headline, you'll have to apologize, there was an advertisement that tried popping up right here. But if you look down where my cursor is, you see the headline for the most recent article that they have written: a Tesla employee foiled an alleged ransomware scheme. And so if you were to click on that headline, then the blog would open up a post about how CEO Elon Musk called a thwarted cyber attack against Tesla serious on Thursday. And then you would read all of the information regarding that event. Another popular blog website is TechRadar. TechRadar, as you can imagine, is focused on technology and electronics. And as you can see, this looks like a news website. This looks like something that you might see for the Dothan Eagle or the Tripolitan or the Montgomery Advertiser. But you can also see how it has exclusive stories generated solely by TechRadar employees. They have podcasts, and they have opinion pieces. Now, we talked about opinion pieces a little earlier, and those were editorials. But I want you to remember that ultimately, for the most part, we want to strive to be fairly neutral in our news articles. Now, I will, throughout the year, have you write some opinion pieces because it is important to be familiar with how they are written, the style that they are written, and they do have their place in journalism. But for the most part, we want to respect the integrity of a news article by keeping as much bias away from it as we can. What I hope this blog will show you, though, is that because you're writing about a topic that you're passionate about, the writing is not going to be boring just because there's no bias behind it. You can still write with an animated style, with an energetic style, but I want you to do your best to keep any kind of spin or personal favoritism out of most of your articles. But if we look at this opinion article, it's on the movie Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan movie. And as you can read right here in this top paragraph, the author opens up this segment describing a 2010 movie called Inception, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, you might not have seen Inception, but the gist of it, the general idea of Inception, is that people have found ways to fall asleep inside of their dreams and then enter into another level of dreaming. And the whole movie takes place within these layers of dreams. It's a rather confusing movie, but it was really popular. Ultimately, though, that was the biggest takeaway. It was a kind of confusing movie. Well, in this paragraph, the author is saying that Tenet is very similar to Inception, but not necessarily with all of the accolades and the famous reception that Inception received. So, does this sound like it's going to be a positive review of Tenet or a negative review? It's probably going to be a negative review. It's not generally a compliment to say that a movie is confusing. But these are what blogs look like. These are what they can look like. They look like all different varieties of websites. The blogging site that we're going to be using is a Google-powered blog site called Blogger. Now, I want you to know that it seems like a lot of people, myself included, had some trouble trying to set up an account by just going to blogger.com. So, I want you to pull up your web browsers and type in https://www.blogger.com/switch- that's just one little dash, profile.g. Make sure that you have the entire website spelled correctly. Once you have it typed in, you can press enter. Now it's going to ask you to verify your account. Blogger is a Google-sponsored website, which means that your school email address, which is also powered by Google, is compatible and it is safe. So you will click on your school email address. You might have to type in your password, but again, it is all through Google. It is all safe. And then from there, you will be good to go. You will be taken to this screen that asks you to choose a name for your blog. Now you see here I have written Mr. Shook's Classroom Blog. I want you to give your blog a title that is catchy and is related to your topic. So for instance, if you're wanting to talk about technology and your name is Tony or Tommy, right? You might want to consider something like Tech with Tommy or Tony's Tech. But of course, you all have so much more creativity than I do, and so I really want you to be creative with your blog titles. From there, you'll have clicked next, kind of like right here, and you'll see choose a URL for your blog. Now here, my URL is charleshendersonjournalism.blogspot.com. Blogger will go ahead and give you this portion. So all you have to come up with is something right here that you would have your friends and family type in if you ever wanted to show them your blog. An easy blog title URL to remember is the title of your blog. So if we're doing Tech with Tommy, we might type in Tech with Tommy, and then that's all we have to type, because then .blogspot.com will fill in, and you'll hit next. Finally, you will confirm your display name. I am asking you to put your first and your last name so that when I'm reading your blogs, I know who the author is. Now I want to take a second and talk about internet safety. You all are old enough now to know that you have to be careful with what you put on the internet and what is safe to put on the internet. Putting your first and last name should be fine. Many of you are on social media anyway, and they ask for your first and last name. But please refrain in your blog posts from putting any other kind of identifying features or characteristics about your blogs. right? We want to practice the utmost in internet safety. But if we use it responsibly, then we'll be just fine. So I would like for you to put your first and last name for your display name, again, so that I know whose blogs I'm reading. But otherwise, I want you to keep a sound mind when creating your blog posts. All right? From there, you will hit finish, and then you will be ready to officially start your blog. Now, right here at the beginning, you'll see a yellow box and a blue box. The yellow box is telling you about some legality measures that Google has to take with the European Union, but it really doesn't apply to you. So you can just exit out of that. And then the blue box tells you about Blogger's new interface. Right now we're going to stick with this interface, so you can exit out of this as well. What I want you to do is look here at your sidebar. Now, towards the bottom, you have an option called Theme. I want you to click on that. When you click on Theme, you'll see several different themes and designs that you can pick for your blog. You can continue to scroll through, and I want you to find a blog theme that you really like and that fits the tone and the topic of your discussion. So, for instance, I, running an education kind of accompanying blog as I'm watching your blogs, I wanted to go with something that was not quite bare bones, but not as flashy as I might if I were doing something a little, well, flashier, right? If I wanted to do a sports theme, I might use something with a lot of reds and blues and strong colors. But for the time, I really like the Notable Dracula. It's a simple black and orange themed blog, and that is the blog that I have picked. So I will hit apply, and then all of my blog posts will appear with this black and orange themed blog site. From there, I want you to scroll back up to the very top right here where it reads New Post. Now, I want you to go ahead and click on New Post, and you're going to be taken to a screen to start typing. But I want to stop you right there. I want to instead take you to docs.google.com, Google Docs, because there's one feature that Blogger doesn't have that you will need to have, and that is a word count feature. So when you're getting ready to type in blog posts for my class, I want you to start by typing them in Google Docs. I want you to type out everything that you need, come up to Tools, and click on Tools. Once you do, you will have an option to check spelling and grammar, your word count, and review suggested edits. I want you to click on the word count, and it will tell you how many words that you've typed up. It's really important to make sure that you fall within the word count range that I've established for each of your assignments, because journalists must be able to abide by the word count. In newspapers, they were only given so much space to fill for news articles, and at the same time, they could have been told to add extra information to fill up space. Those are layovers from the print journalism era with newspapers and magazines, but it is a practice that's still followed today. And so I want you to make sure that you're falling within the word counts that I give you for each of your assignments. Now, I do have a part 2 to this video, so make sure that after you finish watching this one, you watch the part 2.